You're going with Corey Knebel to start the game. Are you looking at today? It's looking more like a bullpen game, or what did Max Scherzer say? Just kind of how he was feeling when you guys heard back from him yesterday.
It is going to be a bullpen game. I feel confident that we'll be able to prevent runs tonight using various options, arms. As far as Max, it was something that we knew going in to use him in that game. Obviously, a leverage spot. There might be a cost, and just kind of talked to him yesterday. Was a little kind of arm tired, and so just thinking through it, just giving him the best opportunity to have success in a start, which ultimately is going to be game 2. I think in 19 he pitched in relief. I think it was against us, and then 2 days later made a start, but that's different than one day. So I think that we were prepared for whatever cost it was, and so we'll start Max game 2, and then Walker will go game 3, and then Julio will go game 4.
Next question.
Dave, just what went into going with Brule and Evan Phillips and leaving David Price and McKinney off the roster?
Well, I think the first part of it is we wanted in a 7-game series, potential 7-game series, we wanted the extra arm. So that took McKinney out of the equation, in our opinion, as far as, so that's that. And as far as Brule, he has pitches with certain left-handers that the spin that goes away and sinker in, it just matches up better with some of the guys that potentially he might face. And with Phillips, I think that his pitch mix, with this particular lineup matched better. So with David and his experience, it was a very difficult call for us.
Far left, Bill.
Yeah, Dave, you said there would be no letdown, but at least for one game, given what y'all came from in San Francisco, how do you prevent that?
Well, this is a very big. It's a big series. It's a very big ball game, and I think that going into the postseason, we expected there to be some high moments and some tough moments, and it's kind of how you respond. And so, knowing you're going to have to deal with that, I think that after whatever happens, we know how we're going to respond. I mean, honestly, Bill, our only focus is to prevent runs tonight and to win a baseball game. And like I said, I feel confident with the guys we're going to run out there, and it's going to boil down to us taking good at-bats against Max Fried, who's pitched really well in big games, but we've seen him. But as far as kind of the psyche, the mentality, not a concern at all. We'll be ready.
In the middle, Alden.
Hey, Dave, why a strict sort of bullpen game and not just maybe using a bulk guy like Tony Gonsolin with another game tomorrow?
Tony's going to be in the mix tonight, and he was supposed to pitch game 4, but then where we were at last series, we decided to go Walker on short. So he'll be in the mix, and we just chose and felt that it was best for him not to start the game. But I expect him to pitch well, and I've got a lot of confidence in Tony.
How stretched out is he right now?
Tony can, I would say something fair is feeling good about 60 to 75 pitches.
Straight back, JP.
Hey, Dave. Some of your left-handed hitters, thinking about Cody and Gavin, had come up big recently, but you went with a right-handed heavy lineup today. What was the thought process there?
I think you look at Fried and the guys that we potentially could run out there. I think we have better options, and I think that that's part of having depth. And so you put guys in the best position to have success. And there's certainly a situation where I can see any one of those guys coming off the bench and impacting the game. But right now, to start the game, I just felt that running those guys out there gives the best chance against Max.
We'll stay in the back, Bob.
Dave, last year after you won the NLCS against Atlanta, do you get the sense that if we get back next year, we're probably going to have to run to these guys again?
Not to discount any other team, because obviously the Giants were the best team in the regular season all year. the Brewers are always scary with that pitching. But the Braves kind of overall, seeing us run it back again, no surprise.
Andy over here on the left.
Hey, Dave. I think this is the 5th NLCS in your 6 years at the helm. And just kind of getting back to this stage year after year after year, how do you feel you handle the stress of managing in games like this?
I internalize a lot. I think for me, it's I find time for quiet time. I think there's a lot of noise outside the clubhouse, inside the clubhouse. So I think personally for me, I get away, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour. I try to it allows me to reset and have clarity, because I've learned that when I don't do that, things speed up. So I think that I try to make sure I get time for myself and get away.
Okay, way in the back, Chris.
Hey, Dave. The difference between managing a 26-man roster versus 25, can I just ask you about that? And then, do you like this? Do you think this should be the number going forward?
I love the shortened rosters in the regular season, not the complete expansion. In the postseason, I like it. I don't mind it. I think the one extra player just adds another piece to the strategy. I'm okay with it.
Down here in the front.
Yeah, Dave, I know it wasn't necessarily planned out that you'd have as many bullpen games as you did during the regular season, but is there anything you could sort of take as an advantage of just having rolled it out there and knowing sort of who gets how many outs and sort of managing through a game like that?
I think certainly, and I think that we're starting to understand that, when you're talking about pitching and run prevention, I think that getting guys in the right spots and lanes and gives them a good chance to get outs. So with our guys, Corey's done it a handful of times as far as start. Certain guys that I might call on to come in the second or third inning, they're used to that. So I think that where most relievers need their routine and they get down to the pen at a certain point in the game, where our guys are used to that more so because of the circumstance that we had this year. So I do think that as far as kind of that part of it, it's certainly an advantage or benefit.
Okay, in the back, Tyler.
Dave, when the Rays kind of, started the whole opener thing, it's obviously taken off. What did you first think of that idea, and when did you become comfortable with it enough to...
I hated it.
Did you?
I hated it. It wasn't baseball. I like to see the starters go deep, but when you sit in this chair, you're trying to win games. That's the bottom line. So it doesn't matter how appealing it is or what it is. If the goal is to prevent runs on the pitching side. And so where they kind of got out ahead of it as far as finding their roster, their relievers, and matching them up best against an opposing offense, and where opposing managers have been late to the party as far as not wanting to swap guys out or construct a lineup a certain way to prevent that. And to be quite honest, the Rays kind of captured a marginal advantage for a few years, so the industry's catching up. But to your question, I hated it because it was different, but I've learned to kind of soften on different is not always bad.
Down here in the middle.
The conversation you referenced with Max yesterday, was that after the workout last night? And did he lobby to get this start? And on the other side, did you think about, with the arm tiredness, did you think about Game 3 instead of Game 2 for him?
Max said he would do whatever we asked. So if that's called lobbying, that's called being a good teammate, in my opinion. This happened last night after the workout. Ultimately, it was, I can take the ball, I'll go as long as I can. I don't know what it's going to be like, versus, if I take the extra day and start on Game 2, I can give us a full start. And so for us, that's a no-brainer. When you're talking about a 5-game series, it might have been a different conversation. But when you're talking about potential 7 games that you have to win 4, it was pretty much a no-brainer for us.
Andy.
Dave, just mentioning what you said about the opener, do you still feel sort of like an internal tug between what you loved about the game when you played it versus what it takes to win in 2021?
You know, I don't, because I think that at the core, what got me and I think a lot of people into baseball is the players and you know, the superstars and the game itself. But the game within the game, I think, is something that I learned to appreciate more. But I think that for some reason, baseball fans are hesitant to hop on board of the game within the game. And so when you're talking about an opener or having relievers face certain parts of the lineup, that's the game within the game. And dig in on why that particular manager wants to use that pitcher in that lane instead of saying, it's stupid, I don't like it, it's not sexy to me. I mean, that just doesn't make sense.